Most people wake up every morning believing they deserve more respect, more opportunity, more success. And yet, year after year, their circumstances stay the same. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack effort, but because they misunderstand a fundamental truth about how life works. You don't get what you want. You don't even get what you work hard for. You get what you believe you are worthy of. Belief is not something we announce out loud. It's something we reveal quietly through our actions. It lives in the choices we make when the outcome is uncertain. It shows up in what we tolerate, what we excuse, and what we repeatedly allow to stay in our lives. If someone believes they deserve respect, they don't chase validation. They don't over-explain their worth. They don't stay silent when their values are crossed. Their behavior already communicates what they believe about themselves, and the world responds accordingly. But if someone believes deep down that they are replaceable, unimportant, or lucky just to be included, they may say they want more, but their actions betray them. They accept less. They stay longer than they should. They settle not because they want to, but because their belief system quietly tells them that this is as good as it gets. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most of our beliefs were not consciously chosen. They were inherited. They were shaped by childhood experiences, by authority figures, by moments of rejection or failure that left a mark. Somewhere along the way, many people learned to lower their expectations, not to avoid disappointment, but to avoid pain. And over time, that survival mechanism becomes an identity. They tell themselves stories. I'm just not lucky. This is how things are. People like me don't get opportunities like that. These stories feel true because they've been repeated for years. But repetition does not equal truth. It only equals familiarity. The real danger is not that these beliefs exist. The danger is that they operate quietly because beliefs don't argue with us. They guide us. They influence what risks we take. They shape what we ask for. They determine when we quit. If you believe you're not worthy of leadership, you won't speak up. If you believe you don't deserve success, you'll sabotage momentum. If you believe love is conditional, you'll accept relationships that confirm it. And when the results show up, we call it reality, but it's not reality, it's alignment. The world simply mirrors back what we project through our behavior. This is why change is so difficult, because changing outcomes requires changing beliefs, and changing beliefs requires courage. It requires questioning stories that have kept us comfortable, even if they've also kept us small. Most people try to change their lives by changing their goals. New year, new plan, new promises. But goals don't fail because people lack discipline. Goals fail because they conflict with identity. If your identity says, I am not enough, no goal will survive for long. If your identity says, I don't deserve this, success will feel foreign and unsafe. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our self-belief. That's why real transformation doesn't begin with ambition. It begins with awareness. You have to notice the patterns. Notice what you tolerate. Notice what you explain away. Notice what drains you that you continue to accept, because tolerance is a confession. It quietly admits what we believe we deserve. When someone consistently shows up late to your life and you say nothing, you're not being patient. You're reinforcing a belief about your value. When you stay in environments that disrespect your effort, your silence becomes agreement. Not agreement with them, but agreement with the story you tell yourself. This doesn't mean blame. Blame keeps us stuck. Responsibility sets us free. Because once you understand that your current reality is connected to your internal belief system, you regain control. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you control the meaning you assign to it. And meaning shapes belief. The shift begins the moment you ask a different question. Not why don't I have more, but what do my choices say about what I believe I deserve? That question changes everything. It forces honesty, and honesty is the gateway to growth. When someone truly believes they are worthy, their behavior changes before their circumstances do. They don't wait for confidence to appear. They act as if their time matters. They prepare even when recognition hasn't arrived. They protect their energy because they believe it has value. And slowly, almost quietly, the world adjusts. Opportunities don't respond to desperation. They respond to clarity. People don't respect words. They respect consistency. Confidence doesn't come from success. Success comes from confidence practiced daily. Belief is not positive thinking. It's alignment between values and action. And the most powerful beliefs are not spoken. They're lived. If you want to get what you truly deserve, you must first decide what you are no longer willing to accept. You must stop negotiating with your worth. You must stop waiting for permission to take yourself seriously. Because the moment you change what you tolerate, you change what you believe. And the moment you change what you believe, your behavior shifts. And when behavior shifts consistently, results follow. Not because the world suddenly became fair, but because you finally became aligned. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a louder voice. You don't need external validation. You need a belief system that supports the life you want to live. And that begins with a simple, courageous decision to believe through action that you are worthy of more. People often believe that effort is the answer to everything. If they just work harder, stay busier, push longer, eventually life will reward them. And when it doesn't, frustration sets in. Not because they didn't try, but because they tried without direction. Effort without clarity is exhausting, and exhaustion is not proof of progress. Before anything meaningful is built, before any sacrifice makes sense, before any discipline can be sustained, one thing must be clear. Why? Not the polite answer, not the impressive answer, the honest one. Because when the why is unclear, every obstacle feels personal. Every delay feels like rejection. Every setback feels like proof that it's not meant to happen. But when the why is clear, pain gains context. Struggle gains purpose. And endurance becomes possible. Clarity always comes before momentum. Most people reverse this order. They start moving, hoping meaning will catch up. They chase titles, money, approval, and status, believing these things will eventually make everything feel worthwhile. But without a clear why, success feels empty and failure feels devastating. The human brain needs meaning to commit. Without it, discipline becomes a short-term performance instead of a long-term identity. You can force yourself for a week, maybe a month, but eventually the body quits on what the mind doesn't understand. That's why clarity is not a luxury. It's a prerequisite. When someone knows why they are doing something, they don't need constant motivation. They don't need reminders. They don't need external pressure. Their decisions are guided internally. They say no more easily. They endure longer. They recover faster. But clarity is uncomfortable because it demands honesty. It asks questions most people avoid. Why do I really want this? Who am I trying to? Impress? What am I afraid of losing if I don't get it? Sometimes the answers are inconvenient. Sometimes they expose insecurity, ego, or fear. And instead of facing those truths, people choose motion. They stay busy to avoid reflection. They confuse movement with progress. But movement without direction is just noise. When clarity is missing, sacrifice feels like loss. When clarity is present, sacrifice feels like investment. The action may look the same on the outside, but the experience on the inside is completely different. This is why two people can work equally hard and have entirely different outcomes. One is driven by purpose, the other is driven by pressure. Pressure creates burnout. Purpose creates resilience. Clarity also acts as a filter. It helps you decide what matters and what doesn't. When you know why you're building something, you stop chasing everything. You stop saying yes to opportunities that look good but feel wrong. You stop trading long-term meaning for short-term applause. Without clarity, people say yes to the wrong things and wonder why they feel drained. With clarity, people say no without guilt, because clarity creates boundaries, and boundaries are not walls. They are standards. Standards that protect your time. Standards that protect your energy. Standards that protect your future. When your why is clear, discipline becomes natural. Not easy, but natural. You don't need to negotiate with yourself every day. You don't debate whether to show up. You don't wait to feel ready. You show up because it aligns with who you are. This is where consistency is born. Consistency doesn't come from willpower. It comes from alignment. When ons align with beliefs, repetition becomes sustainable. When they don't, even the smallest habit feels heavy. That's why so many people start strong and fade fast. Their actions are powered by excitement, not clarity. Excitement is temporary. Clarity is stable. And here's the key difference. Excitement reacts to results. Clarity survives without them. When progress is slow, excitement disappears, but clarity stays. It reminds you why you started when results haven't arrived yet. It anchors you during uncertainty. It keeps you moving forward when there is no immediate reward. This is especially important when trying to get what you truly deserve. Because deserving more often requires saying no to what is familiar. It requires patience. It requires delayed gratification. Without a clear why, patience feels like punishment. With a clear why, patience feels strategic. Clarity also protects you from comparison. When you know why you're on your path, someone else's pace doesn't threaten you. You stop measuring your progress against people who are building something completely different. You focus on alignment instead of competition. Comparison thrives in confusion. Clarity ends it. The moment you stop borrowing other people's definitions of success, you start building something that actually fits you. And when something fits, it lasts. This doesn't mean clarity gives you certainty. It doesn't eliminate doubt or fear. But it gives you a reference point. When things get hard, you don't ask, is this worth it? You ask, is this aligned? That single shift changes everything because alignment is sustainable. Misalignment is not. So before you push harder, before why, add more hours. Before you demand more from yourself, pause, ask why. Sit with the answer, refine it, test it against your values, make sure it's yours. Because clarity is not found in noise, it's found in stillness. And once clarity is established, effort finally has direction. Discipline finally has meaning. Sacrifice finally has purpose. Only then do you build momentum that lasts, most people think. They can get what they deserve simply by showing up. They think effort alone is enough. They think time invested equals rewards earned. And yet so many people work tirelessly day after day and still feel stuck, overlooked, or undervalued. The truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. You cannot get what you truly deserve unless you first earn it internally before the world even notices. What you truly deserve is not a transaction. It is a reflection of who you have become. It is revealed in the choices you make when no one is watching. It is measured not by what you have, but by what you refuse to tolerate. And most people fail to see this because they are trained to chase outcomes rather than cultivate standards. Deserving more starts with belief, not fleeting optimism, not forced motivation. Belief in yourself is the foundation. Because the world doesn't give you more than you can carry, and it certainly doesn't give you more than you believe you are capable of holding. If deep inside you feel unworthy, the universe will mirror that back. You will find opportunities blocked, doors closed, and recognition delayed, not because the world is cruel, but because your behavior, your energy, and your boundaries communicate what you believe about yourself. Believe. F is quiet, but it is potent. It shows up in small ways, the way you speak to yourself, the promises you keep, the standards you refuse to compromise. Each day, you either reinforce your belief in your own worth or erode it. And that daily reinforcement, or lack of it, accumulates into an identity. Once belief is established, the next step is clarity. You must be clear about what you want, not just superficially, but in a way that aligns with your values. Clarity is not about choosing a target that looks impressive. It is about choosing a path that fits your essence. It is about asking yourself, honestly, why you want something and whether it truly serves the person you are becoming. Because if your why is borrowed, your motivation will crumble under pressure. If your why is unclear, your effort will feel like spinning wheels in the mud. Clarity guides action. It acts as a filter that tells you what deserves your energy and what does not. Without clarity, you waste time chasing what others say matters. You take on obligations that drain you. You overcommit to people and projects that do not honor your standards. And in the process, you create the illusion of motion while standing still. When clarity is present, however, decisions become easier. You start saying no without guilt. You start showing up consistently because the path aligns with your values. You start protecting your energy as if it were a rare and precious resource. And every time you act in alignment, you reinforce your sense of deserving. Deserving is not just about ambition, it is about discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think of it as rigid control, punishment, or suffering. But true discipline is a reflection of self-respect. It is doing what you said you would do even when it's uncomfortable. It is honoring your own standards even when no one is watching. It is small decisions repeated consistently, each one a quiet declaration of your worth. Every promise you keep to yourself is a message: I am someone who matters. I am someone who can be trusted. I am someone worthy of more. And every promise you break is also a message, but one that undermines your claim to what you deserve. The path to receiving more is paved with consistent action, integrity, and accountability. Without these, even the most talented and hardworking people will remain stuck in mediocrity. Consistency matters more than intensity. Most people mistake short bursts of effort for progress. They work harder for a week, a month, or a year, hoping results will follow. And sometimes they do, but often those results are fleeting. Sustainable results are the product of long-term consistency, of daily actions that build momentum, of habits aligned with standards. The world rewards those who show up over and over, not those who shine sporadically. Standards define what you deserve. A goal is temporary. A standard is permanent. A goal says, I hope to achieve this. A standard says, this is who I am. And the world responds to standards, not wishes. When you refuse to accept less than you deserve, the environment adjusts. Opportunities align, respect follows, recognition becomes inevitable. But this process is not immediate. You will be tested, not in dramatic, obvious ways, but in quiet, subtle moments that measure your commitment. You will be tempted to lower your standards, to accept what is convenient rather than what is right, to stay silent when you should speak, to remain comfortable when growth demands discomfort. These moments are defining because they reveal whether your belief, clarity, and discipline are genuine or merely aspirational. Most people fail these tests and wonder why life seems unfair. The answer is never unfairness, it is compromise. Life reflects what we allow, we get what we tolerate. And every time we negotiate with our worth, we delay the life we could have. Deserving more also requires patience. The world does not always reward readiness immediately. Recognition is rarely instant. Opportunities may appear late or in forms you did not expect. But if your standards are high and your actions consistent, you will be prepared when the right moment arrives. Patience is not passive. It is active. It is the quiet work of maintaining integrity, alignment, and readiness while others chase shortcuts or settle for less. Comparison is another silent trap. People measure themselves against the success of others, believing that their pace should mirror someone else's. But comparison thrives in confusion and uncertainty. When your path is unclear, other people's results feel like judgment. When your path is clear, other people's results feel irrelevant. Alignment, not imitation, determines what you deserve. You do not compete with others. You compete with yourself, with your own potential, with the standards you have set. And here is the most critical truth. Deserving more is not about luck, timing, or recognition from others. It is about becoming the person capable of carrying more. Life will not hand you opportunities until you have shown through belief, clarity, discipline, and consistency that you can honor them. Every test you pass, every boundary you enforce, every promise you keep to yourself is preparation for the next level of your life. The moment you stop tolerating disrespect, the moment you refuse to compromise on integrity, the moment you consistently act in alignment with your values, you begin to create a life that mirrors what you believe you deserve, not because you demand it, not because you chase it, but because you have become someone for whom it is inevitable. This is why so many people feel stuck despite effort, education, or talent. They are trying to receive before they have become. They are chasing outcomes without cultivating the internal foundations necessary to hold them. The world will always reflect the person you are, not the person you wish to be. So if you want to get what you truly deserve, start within. Examine your beliefs, refine your clarity, raise your standards, keep your promises, practice discipline consistently, endure patiently, protect your energy, align your actions with your values, and refuse to compromise even when it is uncomfortable. Because what you truly deserve is not measured by what life gives you. It is measured by what you refuse to settle for. It is measured by the integrity of your daily actions. It is measured by the courage to demand alignment between who you are and what you accept. The world will always challenge you. Opportunities will not always arrive on time. Recognition may be delayed. Temptations will try to convince you that less is acceptable. But if you maintain belief in your worth, clarity of purpose, discipline, in action, and consistency over time, you will inevitably step into the life you are meant to have. Not someday. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when others validate you. But the moment you decide that you are worthy. The moment you decide that your standards are non-negotiable. The moment you commit to being someone capable of more. That is the moment the life you deserve begins to emerge. Deserving more is never about shortcuts. It is never about luck. It is about becoming the person who can carry what life has to offer. And that becoming is a process, a daily practice of self-respect, alignment, and integrity that slowly, inevitably transforms not only your results, but the person you see in the mirror. When you embrace that truth, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop tolerating. You start showing up consistently with clarity, belief, and discipline. And the world responds not because you demanded it, but because you became someone who could no longer be ignored. You deserve more. But first, you must become more. Most people go through life thinking that rewards are handed out based on effort, luck, or timing. They believe if they work hard enough, show up enough, or endure enough, life will eventually deliver. And when it doesn't, they feel betrayed, frustrated, or overlooked. But the uncomfortable truth is this: the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to carry. It gives you what aligns with your identity. It gives you what you have proven through action and consistency that you are worthy of receiving. Getting what you truly deserve is not about desire. Desire is fleeting. Desire motivates you to start, but it rarely sustains you. What sustains you is belief. Belief in your own worth, belief in your ability, belief in the principles you are unwilling to compromise. Belief is quiet. You don't announce it. You don't prove it with words. You demonstrate it with your behavior, your decisions, and the boundaries you maintain. Most people underestimate the power of what they tolerate. Tolerance is a silent agreement with the world about what is acceptable in your life. Every time you accept less than you are worth, whether in relationships, work, or personal goals, you send a signal. You send a signal to yourself, first and foremost, that this is what you deserve. And eventually the world mirrors that back to you. This is why some people spend decades working tirelessly yet remain stuck. They have never raised the baseline of what they will accept. Before you can demand more, you must first become more. And becoming more starts with clarity. Clarity is not about picking a goal from a list or following someone else's idea of success. Clarity is about understanding at the deepest level why you are pursuing something, what it represents, and how it aligns with your values. Clarity allows you to endure challenges that would crush motivation alone. It allows you to prioritize wisely and say no to opportunities that are attractive but misaligned. Without clarity, you expend energy without direction. With clarity, every step forward carries meaning. Clarity also protects you from comparison. In a world that constantly measures our worth against the achievements of others, comparison can become a trap. It can make you feel inadequate, rushed, or unworthy. But when our path is clear, other people's success no longer threatens you. Their journey becomes irrelevant because your focus is on alignment, not imitation. You measure your progress against the standards you have set for yourself, not the achievements of the world around you. Standards are more important than goals. A goal is a destination. A standard is a way of life. Goals are temporary. Standards are permanent. Goals can be achieved or missed, but standards define who you are daily. If your standard is integrity, you will act with honesty even when it is inconvenient. If your standard is growth, you will learn and adapt even when others stay comfortable. If your standard is respect, you will refuse to accept behavior from others that diminishes your worth. And when your standards are high, the world cannot ignore them. Discipline is the practice of living by your standards. It is often misunderstood as restriction, punishment, or deprivation, but real discipline is proof of self-respect. It is doing what you promised yourself you would do, even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient. Discipline is what transforms potential into results. It is what converts belief into identity. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your claim to what you deserve. Every promise you break weakens it. Consistency compounds over time. People often look for big, dramatic breakthroughs, thinking that one major effort will earn them everything. But the truth is that life rewards the quiet, repeated, disciplined actions that accumulate. Consistency is the bridge between who you are today and the life you deserve tomorrow. It is the mechanism by which belief, clarity, and discipline converge to create real, tangible results. Getting what you deserve also requires patience. Patience is active, not passive. It is the willingness to endure discomfort, uncertainty, and delayed recognition while maintaining alignment with your values. It is resisting the temptation to settle for less, to compromise, or to take shortcuts that feel easier but diminish your future. Patience is the quiet work behind the scenes that allows readiness to meet opportunity when it finally arrives. Life will test you, not always in obvious, dramatic ways, but in subtle, insistent moments. You will be tempted to lower your standards, to accept less than you deserve, to stay silent when you should speak, to remain comfortable when growth demands discomfort. Each of these moments is a mirror reflecting whether your beliefs, clarity, and discipline are authentic or aspirational. How you respond defines not only what you receive, but also who you become. Comparison, impatience, and compromise are distractions. The real work is internal. The real work is aligning your identity with the life you want. This is why so many capable, hardworking people remain unfulfilled. They are asking the wrong question. They are asking, why isn't this happening for me? When they should be asking, who do I need to become to deserve this? Earning what you deserve is not about manipulating circumstances. It is about transforming yourself. It is about becoming a person who no longer tolerates mediocrity, who consistently acts with integrity, who shows up every day aligned with their values, and who patiently endures until opportunity aligns with readiness. This transformation is not instant. It is a process. It is slow. It is often invisible, but it is inevitable for those who commit to it. The world will not reward someone who demands more before becoming more. Recognition, opportunity, respect, they come as a byproduct of alignment, not as a gift. You cannot skip the internal work and expect the external results to arrive. You cannot act entitled and expect life to respond. You must earn it silently, consistently, and with integrity. Belief, clarity, standards, discipline, consistency, patience, these are the pillars that support what you truly deserve. Together, they form a foundation that is unshakable. They allow you to navigate setbacks without losing direction. They allow you to refuse compromise without resentment. They allow you to endure discomfort without surrendering. And they allow you to step confidently into opportunities, recognition, and relationships that align with your worth. The journey is demanding and the tests are constant. You will be tempted to settle. You will be challenged to conform. You will face moments where the easier path is appealing. But if you maintain your standards, honor your promises, and align your actions with your values, the world will adjust. Not because it owes you anything, but because you have become someone who cannot be ignored. What you truly deserve is revealed not by luck or timing, but by what you refuse to accept. It is reflected in your daily choices. It is demonstrated in your patience, discipline, and integrity. It is earned quietly, one consistent action at a time. And when you finally live in alignment with your belief, clarity, and standards, the life you deserve emerges not as a surprise, but as an inevitable consequence of who you have become. You do not get what you hope for. You do not get what you wish for. You do not get what the world owes you. You get what you consistently prove you are ready to receive. And that proof begins inside. It begins with the courage to believe you are worthy, the honesty to clarify your purpose, the integrity to maintain high standards, the discipline to act consistently, and the patience to endure until opportunity aligns with readiness. When you embrace this truth, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop tolerating. You stop negotiating with your worth. You start showing up as the person who commands respect, earns opportunity, and attracts the life you are ready for. And the world, quietly and inevitably, mirrors back what you have always been cultivating within yourself. You deserve more. But first, you must become more. And becoming more is the work that nobody sees. But the results will be undeniable. Most people live their lives waiting for permission. They wait for someone to notice them, to validate them, to hand them the opportunities they feel they deserve. They spend years hoping for recognition, hoping for fairness, hoping for a chance to show their worth. And yet, life rarely works that way. The truth is, you will never receive what you deserve simply by waiting. The world does not reward entitlement. The world rewards preparation, alignment, and courage. Getting what you truly deserve begins long before anyone else notices. It begins with a decision, quiet, internal, and resolute, to value yourself enough to stop negotiating with your worth. You see, deserving is not something handed to you. It is something cultivated. It is revealed in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the standards you refuse to compromise, and in the consistency with which you honor your own principles. Most people misunderstand what deserving really means. They equate it with effort. If I just work harder, I'll get what I deserve, they tell themselves. Effort alone is not enough. Effort without clarity, without belief, without standards is noise. It may look productive. It may earn temporary results, but it does not create a life aligned with your worth. Deserving begins internally. It begins with the beliefs you hold about yourself and the boundaries you are willing to enforce. Belief is the foundation of deserving. If you do not believe you are worthy of more, the world will not convince you otherwise. Deep down, your behavior communicates your self-belief to the world. If you tolerate disrespect, if you accept excuses, if you settle for less than you are capable of, the world mirrors that belief. And if you want different results, you must first change the internal story you tell yourself. Clarity comes next. You cannot earn what you deserve without understanding what it is. Not superficially appealing. True clarity requires asking the hard questions. Why do I want this? Who am I becoming in pursuit of it? Does this align with my values, or am I following someone else's definition of success? Clarity is the compass that guides your actions. Without it, you are reactive. With it, you move with purpose, and every step you take is intentional. Once clarity is established, standards define the boundaries of what you will accept. Standards are different from goals. A goal is temporary. A standard is permanent. A goal says, I hope to achieve this. A standard says, this is who I am. When your standard is integrity, you act honestly even when it is inconvenient. When your standard is respect, you refuse to accept behavior that diminishes your worth. When your standard is growth, you consistently push beyond comfort. The world responds to standards, not wishes. Your life begins to align with what you enforce daily. Discipline is the vehicle by which standards become reality. Discipline is often misunderstood as punishment or restriction, but true discipline is a reflection of self-respect. It is keeping the promises you make to yourself even when it is inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unseen. Discipline is not glamorous. It is repetitive, quiet, and consistent. And it is essential. Without it, standards remain ideals, not lived realities. Every small action you take in alignment with your standards strengthens your claim to what you deserve. Every compromise, every shortcut, every moment you settle diminishes it. Consistency compounds over time. Life does not reward one-time effort or dramatic bursts of energy. It rewards repeated actions, small steps taken every day that reinforce belief, clarity, and standards. Consistency is the bridge between who you are today and the life you are capable of living tomorrow. It is not exciting and it is not instant, but it is inevitable. The world recognizes consistency even when it does not recognize effort alone. Patience is essential in this process. What you deserve is rarely instantaneous. Recognition may be delayed. Opportunity may appear late. But patience is not passive. It is active. It is the ability to maintain discipline, honor your standards, and act in alignment with your values while the world slowly adjusts to your readiness. Impatience is dangerous because it tempts you to compromise, to settle, to accept less than what aligns with who you are. Patience is the quiet assurance that alignment eventually meets opportunity. Tests will come. They will not always be dramatic or obvious. They will be subtle, quiet, and persistent. You will be tempted to lower your standards, to accept less, to remain silent when you should speak, to choose comfort over growth. These moments are defining. They reveal whether your belief, your clarity, and your discipline are genuine or aspirational. How you respond in these moments determines not only what you receive, but who you become. Comparison is another silent trap. People measure their progress against the success of others, believing they are behind or unworthy. But comparison thrives in uncertainty and lack of clarity. When your path is clear, other people's accomplishments do not threaten you. You measure yourself against your own standards, your own growth, your own alignment. Your journey becomes about consistency, preparation, and integrity, not imitation or envy. Earning what you deserve is internal work. It does not rely on luck, timing, or external validation. It requires transformation. You must become someone capable of carrying more, someone who does not tolerate mediocrity, someone who consistently acts with integrity, and someone who patiently endures until opportunity aligns with readiness. This transformation is not dramatic. It is slow. It is quiet. And it is the only path to receiving what you are ready for. The world will never hand you what you deserve because you demand it. It will hand it to you when your identity, your behavior, and your actions prove that you can honor it. Every test you pass, every standard you enforce, every promise you keep, every small act of discipline is preparation for a life that matches your worth. Deserving is earned silently, consistently, and patiently. Belief, clarity, standards, discipline, consistency, patience, these are the pillars of deserving. They are not shortcuts. They are not temporary measures. They are the framework for building a life that mirrors your worth. When you live in alignment with them, the world responds. Not because it owes you anything, but because you have become someone who cannot be ignored. To get what you truly deserve, begin within. Examine your beliefs, refine your clarity, raise your standards, honor your promises, act with discipline, show up consistently, endure patiently, protect your energy, align your actions with your values, and refuse to settle even when it is uncomfortable. What you truly deserve is not measured by luck, timing, or external validation. It is revealed by the boundaries you enforce, the standards you maintain, and the consistency of your daily actions. It is earned quietly, through belief, clarity, discipline, and patience. When you align your identity with these principles, the life you deserve emerges, not as a gift, but as the inevitable consequence of who you have become. You will not get it by wishing. You will not get it by begging. You will not get it by waiting. You get it by becoming the person worthy of it, by proving day after day that you are capable, aligned, disciplined, and patient enough to honor it. And when you do, the world inevitably mirrors back what you have cultivated within yourself. You deserve more, but first you must become more, and becoming more is the quiet work that transforms potential into reality, desire into alignment, and effort into what is truly deserved. The truth is simple, yet so few live by it. You will never get what you truly deserve until you become the person capable of receiving it. The world does not hand out success, respect, or recognition because you demand it, because you hope for it, or because you work tirelessly for it. Life responds to alignment, consistency, and integrity. It mirrors back the beliefs you hold about yourself, the standards you refuse to compromise, and the discipline with which you act even when no one is watching. Deserving begins internally. It starts with belief in your own worth, your own potential, and your capacity to carry more than you have carried before. If deep inside you doubt your value, the world will reflect that doubt. You will accept less, tolerate disrespect, and compromise on the standards that define who you are. Belief is quiet, but its influence is profound. Every action, every boundary you enforce, every promise you keep or break communicates to the world and to yourself what you believe you are worthy of. Clarity comes next. You cannot pursue what you deserve if you do not understand what it is. Not superficially, not in terms of goals that sound impressive to others. True clarity comes from knowing why you want something, how it aligns with your values, and who you are becoming in the pursuit of it. Clarity is the compass that turns effort into meaningful progress, that transforms struggle into purpose, and that allows patience to feel strategic rather than frustrating. Without clarity, effort is wasted motion. With clarity, every step forward builds toward alignment. Standards define what you will accept and what you will refuse. They are permanent, unlike goals, which can be fleeting. Standards are the measure of your self-respect. They are the framework through which belief and clarity are translated into action. When your standard is integrity, you act honestly even when inconvenient. When your standard is growth, you push beyond comfort even when others settle. When your standard is respect, you refuse to allow behavior from others that diminishes your worth. Standards are not negotiated, and life responds to them quietly, consistently, inevitably. Discipline and consistency turn standards into reality. Discipline is not punishment, it is proof of self-respect. It is the repeated choice to honor your own principles, even when it is uncomfortable, unseen, or inconvenient. Consistency compounds over time, transforming small actions into unshakable results. Patience allows the world to align with your readiness. Opportunities, recognition, and success often arrive late, but when you have built the internal foundation through belief, clarity, standards, and discipline, you are prepared to carry them. Tests will come. Moments of temptation, doubt, and discomfort will challenge whether your alignment is real or superficial. Comparison, impatience, and compromise will attempt to derail you. How you respond in these moments determines not only what you receive, but who you become. Every time you uphold your standards, maintain your discipline, and act in alignment with your values, you reinforce your claim to what you truly deserve. The life you are capable of living is a reflection of who you are willing to become. You will not get it by wishing, waiting, or asking for permission. You will get it by proving through your beliefs, your clarity, your discipline, and your consistency that you are ready to receive it. You deserve more, not because the world owes you, but because you have earned it through the integrity of your actions, the courage of your choices, and the unwavering commitment to honor yourself every day. Deserving more begins within. It is cultivated quietly, internally, and consistently. It is revealed not in the moments of ease, but in the moments of resistance. The world will mirror back to you exactly what you have chosen to enforce in your life. When you stop tolerating less, when you uphold your standards without compromise, when you act with discipline and patience, the life you truly deserve is no longer a distant dream. It becomes inevitable. You deserve more. And first, you must become more